Welcome back to Chilling Chapters 1, where every story will send shivers down your spine. Tonight, we bring you 3 terrifying true tales that will make you question what lurks in the darkness. Are you ready? Let's begin.
I was 16 when my perspective on childhood games changed forever. It was early October, and my parents had left for a weekend getaway, leaving me home with my older cousin Marcus, who was supposed to be supervising. Marcus invited his friend Devin over, and the 3 of us got bored watching movies. Devin suggested we play hide and seek in the dark, something I hadn't done in years. Our house was a 2-story colonial with plenty of rooms, a finished attic, and a partial basement. We established simple rules: stay inside, no attic or garage, and you had to respond if someone called "Ollie Ollie oxen free" 3 times. Devin hid first while Marcus and I counted in the kitchen. I could hear him running upstairs, his footsteps fading into silence. We searched everywhere, checking behind curtains, inside the linen closet, even the small space behind the washing machine. 20 minutes passed before we found him wedged inside a storage ottoman in the upstairs hallway. My turn to hide. I chose my parents' walk-in closet, sliding behind the hanging winter coats in the back corner. The darkness was absolute. I controlled my breathing, listening to Marcus and Devin's muffled voices as they searched. Then I heard something that made my blood run cold. 3 sets of footsteps. 2 voices calling my name, and 1 walking silently through the rooms above me. I stayed frozen, confused. Were they trying to trick me? After what felt like an eternity, Marcus yanked open the closet and asked why I hadn't answered. I told them I heard 3 people searching. They both went pale. There were only 3 of us in the house. We decided to do one more round to prove nothing was wrong. This time, Marcus hid while Devin and I searched together. We stayed side by side, neither of us wanting to split up anymore. That's when we heard it clearly. Footsteps in the room we'd just left. We spun around, but the hallway behind us was empty. Devin suggested we just call Marcus out and end the game. We shouted for Marcus. No response. We called again, louder. Nothing. Growing frantic, we searched every room, calling his name. Finally, we heard a muffled reply from the basement, but we hadn't gone down there. It was against the rules. We found Marcus at the bottom of the basement stairs, visibly shaken. He said he'd been hiding in the upstairs bathroom when someone opened the door, stood there silently, then closed it. Thinking he'd been found, he came out, but no one was in the hallway. Panicked, he'd run downstairs and heard the basement door close behind him, even though he hadn't touched it. That's when all the lights in the house went out. We stood in complete darkness, too terrified to move. I fumbled for my phone and turned on the flashlight. In its beam, we saw something that made us run. On the basement wall, written in what looked like dust or chalk, were the words, "My turn to hide." We burst out the front door and didn't stop until we reached the neighbor's house. They called the police, who searched the property and found the breaker had been switched off. But they found no signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, nothing to explain the message on the wall. The next morning, in daylight, my parents came home early. We went to the basement together. The wall was clean. No message, no marks, nothing. I've never played hide and seek since, and sometimes, late at night, I still wonder who was playing with us that evening, and if they're still waiting for their turn. Growing up on Fletcher Street meant endless summer nights and a tight-knit group of neighborhood kids. Behind our row of houses stretched Pinewood Forest. Not a real forest, just what we called the dense patch of trees that seemed to go on forever. I was 13 the summer it happened. Our group consisted of 6 kids, me, my twin sisters Kayla and Kendall, and 3 brothers from next door, Omar, Dante, and little Mason, who was only 9. We'd play flashlight tag in those woods almost every evening once the sun went down. The game was simple. One person was it with a flashlight, and everyone else hid in the darkness. If the light hit you, you were out. One humid August night, we decided to play deeper in the woods than usual. Omar was it first, counting to 100, while the rest of us scattered into the trees. I ran until the distant glow of the houses disappeared behind me. I crouched behind a thick oak tree, my heart pounding with excitement. In the distance, I could see Omar's flashlight beam sweeping through the trees. Then, I noticed another light. It was farther away, off to my left, moving in a strange pattern, up and down, side to side, not like someone searching. I assumed it was one of the others with their phone light. But then, I heard Omar tag Dante and heard both of them talking as they searched together. I counted the voices. That was 2. I heard Kayla giggle somewhere ahead, 3. Mason called out that he gave up, it was going back, 4. That left just me and Kendall hiding. So who was holding the other light? The strange light began moving closer to me. I pressed myself against the tree, barely breathing. The light swept past, and I caught a glimpse of the person holding it. It definitely wasn't Kendall. It was someone tall, an adult, wearing dark clothing. They moved silently through the underbrush, scanning the area with methodical precision. My chest tightened. I wanted to run, but I was frozen. The figure passed within 10 feet of me, so close I could hear their breathing, heavy and deliberate. Once they moved on, I waited until I couldn't see their light anymore, then sprinted back toward the houses as fast as I could. I burst out of the tree line to find everyone already gathered on Omar's back porch. "Game's over," Omar called. "We couldn't find you or Kendall." My stomach dropped. "Where's Kendall?" Everyone looked at each other. She hadn't come back yet. We called her name, shouting into the woods. No response. Panic set in. Omar's mom came out and immediately called Kendall's phone. It rang from inside the woods. We could hear the ringtone echoing through the trees. That's when Kendall came stumbling out, pale and trembling. She collapsed onto the grass, crying. It took several minutes before she could talk. She said she'd been hiding when she heard someone walking nearby. Thinking it was Omar, she'd stayed quiet. But then the person stopped right next to her hiding spot and just stood there. She said she could hear them breathing, could sense them staring at the bush she was behind. After what felt like forever, the person spoke in a low whisper, "I can see you." Kendall had run, leaving her phone behind. She said she heard footsteps chasing her through the woods, but didn't look back until she saw the lights of our houses. Omar's parents called the police. They searched the woods with flashlights and dogs, but found nothing except Kendall's phone, placed neatly on a tree stump, not where she dropped it. For weeks afterward, there were rumors. Some people said it was a homeless person living in the woods. Others thought it was someone's creepy uncle who liked to spy on kids. The police increased patrols, but they never found anyone. We never played in those woods again. Even now, 10 years later, when I visit my parents and look out at the tree line behind their house, I wonder who was out there with us that night. And I wonder if they're still playing the game.
The Stranger at Sunset. Last summer, I was 15 and living with my family in a quiet suburb outside Charleston. Our property sits on 2 acres with a large backyard that borders a nature preserve. My friends and I spent most of our free time out there. One evening in late June, 4 of us were hanging out. Me, Trevor, Sam, and Miguel. We'd been shooting hoops but got bored as the sun started setting. We were just sitting around when a guy we'd never seen before walked up from the trail that runs along the preserve. He looked about 18 or 19, wearing a red baseball cap and a backpack. He smiled and asked if we wanted another player for a pickup game. Something about him felt off immediately. His smile was too wide, too eager, and his eyes didn't match the friendliness of his expression. Trevor asked who he was. He said his name was Blake and that he'd just moved into one of the houses down the road. He pointed vaguely toward the preserve. None of us had heard about any new neighbors, but we didn't want to be rude. Sam suggested we play manhunt instead, since it was getting dark. Blake's face lit up. He said that was his favorite game and that our yard was perfect for it. That comment stuck with me. How would he know anything about our property? We divided into teams. Blake volunteered to be a hunter immediately, almost too enthusiastically. It was Blake and Miguel hunting, while me, Trevor, and Sam hid. I ran toward a cluster of trees near the back fence and crouched in some thick bushes. From my hiding spot, I could see Blake standing near the house, not even pretending to count properly. He was looking around slowly, studying the yard like he was memorizing it. When the game started, I stayed perfectly still. I watched Blake walk directly to where Sam was hiding, a spot Blake couldn't possibly have seen from where he'd been standing. He didn't search or call out, he just walked straight there. After about 15 minutes, Miguel called us back. He'd found Trevor, but couldn't find Blake anywhere. We waited around for almost 20 minutes calling Blake's name, but he never responded. Eventually, we figured he'd just left. It was weird, but we were honestly relieved. There was something about Blake that had made all of us uncomfortable, even if we hadn't said it out loud. That night, around midnight, I heard something outside my window. A soft scraping sound, like someone dragging a stick along the side of the house. I looked out, but couldn't see anything in the darkness.
The next morning, I found something on our back patio that made my skin crawl. A small pile of stones arranged in a perfect circle, and in the center was a piece of paper weighed down by a rock. On the paper was a hand-drawn map of our property, showing the house, the yard, the trees, everything. And there were X marks at different locations, including one right outside my bedroom window. I showed my parents immediately. My dad called the police. They took the paper as evidence and filed a report, but said without knowing who Blake really was, there wasn't much they could do. They increased patrols in our area and told us to call immediately if we saw him again. For the next week, nothing happened. Then, 6 days later, I woke up at 3 a.m. to the sound of footsteps on our roof. Clear, deliberate footsteps, walking from one end to the other. I ran to my parents' room. My dad grabbed his phone and a bat, and we listened together. The footsteps had stopped, but then we heard someone trying to open the attic access panel, a small door in the ceiling of the upstairs hallway. My dad called 911 while I woke up my little sister and brought her into my parents' room. We locked the door and waited. The police arrived within 5 minutes, surrounding the house with lights and sirens. They found fresh footprints on the roof, leading to the tree beside our house. Someone had climbed up and tried to get inside through the attic. They also found something else. Carved into the tree trunk were the words, "Found you," and a smiley face. The police dusted for prints and found several matches in their system. The prints belonged to a 19-year-old named Brandon Keller, who had a history of stalking and breaking and entering in 3 different states. He'd been arrested twice before, but had never served significant time. They issued a warrant for his arrest, but he'd already disappeared. For 2 months, we had police watching our house at night. My dad installed cameras, motion lights, and a security system. We didn't use the backyard anymore. Eventually, they caught him in Virginia, trying to break into someone else's house. He's in prison now, awaiting trial for multiple charges across different states. The detective told us we were lucky, that based on what they found in his belongings when they arrested him, he'd been planning something much worse for our family. I'm 17 now, and we've since moved to a different state. My parents sold that house within 6 months. Sometimes I still think about that evening when Blake showed up, how he knew exactly where to find Sam, and how he'd already mapped out our entire property. The detective said he'd probably been watching us for days, maybe weeks, before he finally approached us. That thought keeps me up at night more than anything else, because it means all those times we were playing in the backyard, laughing and having fun, he was out there in the woods, watching and waiting for the perfect moment to join our game.
Thank you for watching Chilling Chapters 1. If these stories gave you chills, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more terrifying tales, and share with your friends who love horror stories. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our next spine-tingling episode. Until next time, sleep tight if you can. Stay safe, stay scared.